Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. It is Saturday, and we have made it all the way to Genesis chapter 30 today. Just 20 more chapters to go, a couple more weeks together doing this. But in chapter 30, we see some drama, we see some blessing, we see all sorts of stuff. There's a lot going on. But all I want to read to you today as we have this time together is just verse 1. Just verse 1 of chapter 30. This says, when Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister. So she said to Jacob, "Give me children or I'll die." A little dramatic, okay, just a little bit dramatic. Now, just a little backstory, if you remember, just in the last chapter, we saw this whole drama when Laban, Rachel's father, deceived Jacob into working 7 years for his older daughter, Leah, who he did not love or care for, and yet gave her to him in marriage after the 7 years. Jacob was shocked by this, went to Laban. Laban said, well, if you work another 7, then I'll give you the daughter you really wanted. So Jacob does, and now he has 2 wives, sisters of all things. But there's already jealousy in the home. Now, if you read the end of the previous chapter, it says that the Lord blessed Leah by giving her the ability to have children with Jacob first. She had several children, actually, before Rachel had any. And so now as we go into this chapter, very natural tendency, Rachel gets jealous. And I just want to talk just for a little bit about that today and get us kind of thinking about jealousy. When you think of your own life, what areas of your life bring you feelings of jealousy towards others? Is it their relationship status? Is it their possessions or how much they own? Is it maybe jealousy over someone getting a promotion at work or getting favor from the boss? Is it jealousy over other people's relationship that they have with their children or their in-laws or their parents? Is it jealousy over someone else's appearance or looks or popularity? Or there's so many things that we can be jealous by. I heard a phrase once and it said, there's no win in comparison. Let that sink in. You're going to start making bumper stickers, throwing it on your car. It's so true. There's no win in comparison. When we compare ourselves to others, usually one of 2 things happen. In this verse, we see the jealousy side of it. Usually either one comes, we feel worse about ourselves, our circumstances, our family, our finance, whatever. We feel jealous. Or another real option is sometimes we compare ourselves to others and we actually feel pretty good, which can lead to pride. I'm not amazing, but I'm better than her, right? Or, I don't have it all together, but I've definitely got it better going on than him, right? Neither one is good. An insecurity, a jealousy, a feeling of lack and loss, not good. Also, a feeling of pride or feeling better than others, not good. There's no win in comparison. So I challenge you. We live in a world of such comparison. I think that's basically the main purpose of Facebook or a lot of these social media outlets is just to compare. A lot of our television shows and our media and our movies have shifted into this genre, if you want to call it, of really just staring at other people's lives, wanting to see what they're up to, wanting to see what they're doing, what they think about things, how they're dressing, it's all comparison. And that's so not biblical. If you want to compare yourself to someone, the Bible would say compare yourself to Christ. Why don't you see how you line up to him, right? You see, we don't even measure up to Christ. We're not even on the measuring base when we look at Christ. And yet he's the only standard that we live by. The rest of us are on level ground. We're equal at the foot of the cross. And so instead of wasting our time comparing ourselves to others, why don't we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus and allow him to speak into our life of how we can become more like him? Now, I recognize that there's some of us that really wrestle with this, that this is a sin struggle. It can be a snare in your life, almost choking you, that you live with jealousy. And really, when you live with jealousy, you're always discontent. You can get to the point where as dramatic as Rachel, when she literally says, "Give me children or I will die." Pretty dramatic. And yet I know that many of us, we might be there today. Would you be willing to release that to the Lord? Would you be willing to allow the Holy Spirit to put a little spotlight on that area of your heart and allow him to speak to it, to him to maybe uproot some of that jealousy, to uproot maybe some bitterness that you've held on to, maybe some victim mentality that you feel like God owes me something. It can lead to a lot of pain, my friend. What would happen if God actually uprooted those things from your heart and you actually could walk into a day, you could walk into a week, you could walk into work, you could walk into your home without wearing those glasses of jealousy, that all you see is things from a jealous mindset. Or you could take off those glasses of bitterness, or you could take off those glasses that are seeing the world through an eyesight that is not from the Holy Spirit. Let's stop comparing ourselves to others. And instead, let's compare ourselves to Christ, because when we do, we are humbled and we recognize just how great he is. Hey, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, and I invite you tomorrow to church. We are going to be finishing out our series on conversations with Jesus at Shrewsbury Assembly of God. We would love for you to visit us in Shrewsbury, Pennsylvania, or if you're not in the area, you can check it out online at 10:15 on our website, shrewsburyassembly.org. Otherwise, we will be back next week for another Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.